Antonblast is this crazy platformer where you play as a demolition worker named Anton. Now Anton has incredibly red skin, and the reason I tell you this is because apparently it's so red that Satan himself gets jealous and steals the entirety of Anton's booze collection just to lure him to hell. The game is all about destruction and chaos, but in a fun way. You've got this massive hammer, or if you play as Annie, which is the other playable character, a mace, and you just go to town smashing everything inside. It feels a bit like old school Mario games, just even more intense. You can pull off different special moves, both in terms of combat and movement, smash special crates to fill up your health, and there are these platforms called layer springs that let you jump into the background. In the levels, you're looking for these detonator things while smashing everything up. And once you find these detonator things, you trigger what they call happy hour. Now once happy hour starts, you've gotta make it back to this elevator, run by a bartender named Brulo, before everything explodes. Should you not make it in time, well, tough luck, that's it. Now as you are running around causing mayhem, you can collect stuff like cassette tapes, spray cans and trash. You don't really need them to beat the levels, but they are there if you're into collecting things. The more destruction you cause, the higher your combo gets, which means more points. The game does have voice acting for certain scenes, which I think is worth mentioning, because I don't think that's often the case for a platformer.
His name is Dynamite Anton.
I demand that you find this Anton!
And the levels are also accompanied by what I would call a phenomenal soundtrack that really shifts you into the perfect mood. The boss fights themselves are pretty wild too. You are going up against these huge bosses, and you have to figure out how to destroy them with your hammer, while of course dodging all the attacks. As I quickly hinted at earlier, you can pick between playing as Anton with his hammer, or Annie with her mace. Both of them are just there to cause as much destruction as possible, which honestly seems to be the main point of the game. It is chaotic and sometimes overwhelming, but that's kind of what makes it fun. The game was actually supposed to come out earlier, but they pushed it back to December 3rd, partly because they wanted to polish it more, and partly because of these two hurricanes that hit Florida, where the developers are based. If the game sells well, they are also planning to release some DLC later. And that sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.